Hey guys, Jessica with Genuine Lactation today, and I am so excited for today's video. So we are spending the month of April at Genuine Lactation focusing on pump comparisons. I asked in my group Wearable Pump Paperweight Prevention what pumps parents wanted to see compared to one another. And one of the things is I've had this request for this video for so long, and I have previously been unable to do the video because there was a conflict of interest. So back in 2022, up until a little over 6 weeks ago, I was actually an independent contractor for BabyBuddha and was providing lactation support for BabyBuddha customers through my practice, Genuine Lactation. But in the last 6 months, my business has taken off. It's taken itself in new directions. And in order to better align myself with what I am truly passionate about, I decided to step away from that role. So now I can actually do this video and talk to you head to head, because previously the way we managed conflict of interest was we talked about each pump independently. So there was never a case of, well, she said she liked this about the BabyBuddha more, but she may have just been saying that because the company tells her that she had to, or she said she didn't like this about the BabyBuddha, and that could be a problem for the companies I was working with. But my opinion has never been for sale. My opinion will and always is just my opinion. Unfortunately, the cost to pay me off to say stuff is just way too high, especially for today's pump companies. So today we're going to talk about BabyBuddha 2.0 versus the Pumpables Genie Advanced. These are hands down my favorite portable pumps on the market. Portable pumps are different than true wearables. So a true wearable is a wireless wearable that is all contained in the bra. Let me just grab one real quick. Actually, for once, I don't have one on the desk. Weird. But everything goes in the bra. With a portable, it's a little different because there would be tubing that connects to the pump and goes to flanges or can be paired with cups. And both of these can be paired with a wide variety of flanges and pump and cups. We use these pumps with so many moms, not because they're the only options, because there's actually quite a few portable pump options out there these days. This is not a limited market anymore, but these two are standouts in this category because they have the highest capacity to be paired with all kinds of products so that we can make them perform. I can make this one little pump or this one over here. I can make it lower the suction. I can make it raise the suction. I can change the shape of what it's doing. I can use a different material and a different flange cup. I can do anything and everything within some limitations. I don't have like superhuman powers, but we're getting pretty darn close with these two pumps. So we can take these tiny motors that, I mean, you can see they both come on lanyards. This one has a belt clip on the back. They're meant to be portable. I actually prefer to pump with both of them in a fanny pack. I think fanny packs are like the unsung hero of the portable pump world. They take all of the limitations that we previously saw with the motors and they kind of wrap it up in one nice, neat little package out of the way of little fingers, because I am constantly, if I'm pumping, I've got little kids around. I love having my pump nice and secure. I'm also known for like not paying attention to what I'm doing and whacking pumps into things. So the fanny pack helps me prevent all of that. So the difference is, who is each one of these pumps right for? So let's run through the features first, and then we'll talk about what criteria we really use to tell you whether you would be a better candidate for the Pumpables Genie Advanced or for the BabyBuddha. So right at the door, let's talk about price. These are functionally the same price. They're both about 180, and there's always a 10% off coupon. I actually have a 10% off code for both, and I will link it down below. But you can get these for 180 before the 10% off coupons. So that is pretty nice. BabyBuddha comes with a 24mm flange setup. You can buy it with the cups. The bundle is kind of in and out of stock, but it traditionally comes with this 24mm flange setup. It's a one-piece flange. It does have a 22mm cushion in it. One of the big reasons that people end up hacking the BabyBuddha is because this part is not a universal part. So that is a little bit of a limitation, is that I would say for most people, when you buy the BabyBuddha, you can expect to need to pair it with other flanges or other cups unless you get really lucky and the 24mm bowl shape is exactly what you need, or you do well with that bowl crater shape, in which case we can do inserts. Pumpables Genie Advanced comes with liquid flanges. And what I love about this is that if you are somebody who's not interested in the liquid flanges, or the liquid flanges don't come in your size because they only come in 15, 17, 19, 21, 25, and then 29. So if you are not one of those sizes or you're not interested in the silicone flanges, even though I will tell you, I love the liquid flanges. I actually use them with almost every pump. If you do not love the liquid flanges, you can actually buy it without it. And you can still get 10% off. I think it drops it down to 150 and you can still get 10% off. So this one could be cheaper depending on how you buy it. This one, unfortunately, unless you are looking to use it with the BabyBuddha cups and buy it as a bundle, you do get stuck with a set of flanges you may or may not want. It just is what it is. This pump has three modes. It has a soft stimulation, which is just that standard sawtooth gentle stimulation. It does start out a little bit higher than the average pump. So if you are somebody who uses like a Spectra on level 1, this is not for you. This is going to be too strong. It starts out at like in between a 2 and a 3 on a Spectra. It has really good cycle speeds, up to 80 cycles per minute. In terms of cycle speeds, it does beat the Pumpables Genie Advanced at this point. You have a standard expression mode. What BabyBuddha is known for is two things with the suction. It's the suction pattern and then their classic stimulation mode. So the suction on some pumps goes up and comes right back down. It just makes a little like triangle, up and down. There's no real like sustained peak. BabyBuddha has a sustained peak. So it goes up really quick, holds, and then comes back down. So it's got a little bit of a flat line when we actually put it on a suction gauge and can see how that pattern looks. So that is part of the magic of the BabyBuddha pump. So a lot of people find they really need that sustained pull in order to empty the breast quickly and effectively. So if you are somebody who is looking for a pump that has a more aggressive pull pattern, the BabyBuddha could absolutely be the pump for you. The pumpable, or let's go through the classic stimulation mode. So classic stimulation mode was actually something that was back on one of the older models of the BabyBuddha. And you can see, this one has a little trackball that controls it. This one has a trackpad. This is the newest model of it. I love the BabyBuddha 2.0 with trackpad. That is a huge upgrade in my opinion. So you have the classic stimulation mode. It's 10 short pulls and then one long pull. On the older models of the BabyBuddha, even on level 1 stimulation, that long pull was strong enough to try and suck your soul right out of your nipples. That was a very aggressive pull. A lot of people didn't even use that mode. They just went straight to expression. And because the expression mode starts at a really good level and a reasonably fast cycle speed, a lot of people just used it there. They didn't even mess with that. What I love about the 2.0 is you have that soft stimulation, you have that expression that has a sustained pattern. And then you have that classic simulation that has that long pull, but the long pulls turn down on level 1, 2, and 3 and goes up gradually. So even our more sensitive nipples, unless you cannot exceed 150 mmHg, can use that classic simulation, which is awesome. It opened the door for a lot more parents to find success with this pump, which is great because look how small it is. It's one of the tiniest pumps on the market. I can only think of 2 options that kind of really compete with it in terms of being this small. And that makes it phenomenal. You can put this and your accessories all in the same space that Spectra bowling ball is going to take up. Not that I'm throwing shade at the Spectra. I love the Spectra for certain things. But this is very, very portable. And because you can pair the BabyBuddha with almost every cup, and I say almost every cup because there are some cups it does not play nicely with. I will link our video about the BabyBuddha and cups down below. But you can put it with almost every cup, which means you can put a cup in your bra and be walking around with this incredibly powerful, very durable motor. This is going to get 3 to 4 times the longevity and lifespan for that motor that you're going to get with a traditional wearable. So that is huge. And it's also less expensive. So for the cost of the BabyBuddha and any extra parts that you end up needing, because most people do need to kind of find their sweet spot with this pump. It's just the hazards of it. You can get that and be fully portable for less than the cost of the average wearable. The average wearable is going to run you about $350. Sometimes we can get them down in the 2 range, but this should all come in about 200, 225 is going to be average. Pumpables Genie Advanced. This is a different pattern altogether. It is a vibrating pump. BabyBuddha is vibration free. Pumpables Genie Advanced is not vibration free. It actually is like a baby Spectra for those who are using kind of Spectra level 8 to 9 or below. If you are maxing out a Spectra S1, S2, the Pumpables Genie Advanced is not going to cut it for you. Even if we turn the suction all the way up and use the hacks for this pump that maximize the suction, which would be the Medela Personal Flex or the Medela Cups, we are not going to get to where you need it to be because the Spectra, if it's maxed out, tends to be on really high cycle speeds. And portable pumps tend to not have the ability to pair your suction and your cycle speed quite as independently as like a Spectra. So if you need faster cycle speed, you're going to be on lower suction. If you need higher suction, your cycle speed has to turn down because that's just the sacrifice of the programming. So with this, you've got the stimulation and you've got the expression mode, and it acts like a baby Spectra. And given that, I would say at this point, I still think Spectra is the most common pump that people are using on the market. Almost everybody I see has a Spectra or has the equivalent to a Spectra. So you could have a Motif Luna, you could have a Stimori, but those are still not as impressive as a Spectra for most people. So this acts like a baby Spectra. If you are a lower end of the Spectra, so 8 or 9 or below, or level 4 on stimulation or below, you can pretty much just pick up a Pumpables Genie Advanced. We match the settings, you figure out what stuff you want to use on it, and you're on your way. You can put it on your lanyard. You can clip it to your belt. I will say if you are using this on a belt, it is a little heavy, and I do feel like that is a little awkward unless you wear really tight, really high-waisted jeans and can hold it up. My pants like to sag with it, so I don't really do that. Again, I am a fanny pack kind of person, so I put this in a fanny pack. I love the One Pump Mama fanny pack. I love the Mimi and Pal fanny pack. I use them both. I think they're great for both of these pumps that we're talking about today. But you put it in there. One of the big advantages of this is that it has the ability to customize a program. So when you are using your BabyBuddha, you have to be in manual control. When you turn it on at first, it's going to run an auto program. It's not going to have any indicator that it's telling you it's running an auto program. So it does catch a lot of people by surprise. I really think they need to put an indicator on there that the auto program is running. Because if that auto program is running, what it's doing is going up a level every 45 seconds. So every 45 seconds, your suction goes up and your cycle speed turns down. That is only supposed to run when you first turn the pump on in soft stimulation or in classic stimulation. However, with the 2.0, sometimes it malfunctions, and when you go back to stimulation, it triggers it. Most people aren't bothered by it. If it starts to do it, it's no big deal. You just hit a button. You can either change the mode or change the suction real quick, and it should turn it off. But the fact that it doesn't have that auto program indicator is a little bit of a problem. But other than that, you are under full manual control. So if you are somebody, I have a lot of people who use that pump on soft stimulation only. They were using it to match the higher end Spectra suction and cycle speeds. We could match that depending on the flanges that they were using with their BabyBuddha. So we could get that kind of in that faster cycle speed, higher suction range for them. But it didn't have vibration. And that could be a problem if you're trying to transition to it. But it's full manual control, so nothing tells it to turn off. With this pump, you do have full manual control, but then they have this really cool feature where you can write a program. So one of the things we found when LV's Smart Rhythms launched and then when the Eufy S1 and E10 hit the market is that alternating between the stimulation and expression every 5 minutes has proven to be a really helpful thing. Motif has just launched their Aura Glow and the Motif Roam that have what they call cluster pumping mode, which is basically the reverse of what was natural stimulation or mixed mode on LV and Eufy. And we are able to basically figure out which one is working better for your body, and we can program it to work with this. And then let's say down the road your needs change. You find that you respond better to a slightly different pattern of suction levels and intervals. We just change it. It's super easy to rewrite a program because if you are using manual control, you would have to be switching things anyway. But it's very, very easy to program this. So in terms of the ability to like set it and forget it, Pumpables Genie Advanced wins hands down because this really, unless you happen to be somebody who responds exclusively to the auto program or does exclusively that classic stimulation mode, which is those 10 short pulls and that one long pull, unless you are somebody who's using that, you're typically going to have to change settings as you're pumping. So yes, you're portable, but you do still have to be aware of, okay, well, I've been pumping for 5 minutes. It's time to change settings, or I see my milk flowing. I need to change settings now. And that gets hard with cups. And if a lot of people are looking for a portable pump because they simply don't have time to pay active attention to pumping because of their lifestyle, the Pumpables Genie Advanced does win in that category. These are both really solid pumps. The primary criteria that we find ourselves using is one, what features do you want? What accessories are you using? A lot of people are buying portable pumps as a secondary pump, which is exactly what I would recommend. You can use these as primary pumps. once your milk supply is established. I still would be a little hesitant to tell you that you should use these to establish a milk supply and bring in the milk supply. But also, if you told me like there's no way I'm not going to use a traditional pump, I would need something that's portable, I would pair you to one of these, even if I don't think it's going to be the most effective means. These are going to be more effective than a wearable, and they're going to be more effective than other portables for that for the most part. So we can do that with them. But most people are already using other pump parts. So we like to see what pump parts do you like? What size flanges do you need? What shape of flange do you need? What type of material do you need? And that lets us kind of figure out, if you need a very specific, I'm going to call it the Amida Platinum on this one. If you were using the Amida Platinum at a hospital, and I say that because we actually have a local hospital here that uses it, so I get lots of questions from my local moms about transitioning from the Amida Platinum with their very unique flanges, because if you like their flanges, you like their flanges. The Amida Platinum flanges will cut the suction on the BabyBuddha quite dramatically, but they will perform just fine with the Pumpables Genie Advanced. So if you are using an Amida and you're doing really well with it and the settings kind of match the Pumpables Genie Advanced, that's a really easy solution because then you don't need two different types of flanges. So that's less to clutter your kitchen counter, that's less to have to wash. It's kind of a win-win. If you are using Medela cups, I'm going to pair you to the Pumpables Genie Advance of those two because Medela cups really shouldn't be used with the BabyBuddha 2.0, even though you could use it on soft simulation and be somewhat safe if you accidentally change modes, if you accidentally end up running the auto program. You could still very quickly do damage to your nipples because the suction goes up very, very quick. It ends up at about 400 mmHg, but it's also strong enough to blow the valve inside your pump, and that's not fixable. And when it dies in a very, very clear fashion. Like you know exactly what happened to that pump. And it really shouldn't be covered by the warranty. So it really just depends if you're talking to a customer service rep who catches on to that, and if there's a technician that can identify that that's what would have caused that failure. And if that's the case, that's considered user error. So that would not be covered. Whereas the Medela cups, which are really popular, pair beautifully with the Pumpable Genie Advanced. The only complaint there is Medela's tubing system, but that's a Medela problem. It's not a Pumpable Genie Advanced problem. So these are two really solid options. Both of them could be really good for you. There's some drawbacks to them. This one is bigger, this one is smaller, this one is quieter, this one is louder, this one is stronger, this one is going to be more gentle, this one has vibration, this one doesn't. This one tends to have a little bit less adjustment period. Anytime you use a new pump, we could see a period of adjustment. This one, typically we can teach your body to respond in about a week and a half, even if you're further postpartum. This one could be a little bit longer, especially if you're further postpartum and you were using vibration. But all in all, for most people, one of these pumps is going to be just the answer that you were looking to for which portable pump is going to be best for me. So hopefully that helps. I'm super excited to share more with you guys this month about all the different pumps that you guys are wanting to see compared. And if you are trying to pick a pump, we do have a workshop coming up at the end of April. I will link the information down below, but it's going to be focusing on how to choose a pump. And we're not just going to give you facts about the pumps that are available today, which could be completely outdated 30 days from now. I'm going to teach you the questions you should ask so that you can buy a breast pump today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. Whenever you need a pump, you'll know the questions to ask to help make sure that you are getting a solid purchase and not falling prey to predatory marketing. So hopefully that helps. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, please let me know, and happy pumping.